Hey there, everybody. This is Steve Quillian from Wood Window Makeover, and this is my dad, James Quillian from Fantasy Free Economics.
I believe the second one that I sometimes get them out of order was own your own tools.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you remember you told me not too long ago that you still had the first Milwaukee saw that I bought you when you were a teenager.
I do.
I mean,
I
I
do.
remember how much it cost. It was $129. That was a lot of money back in the 1980s and early 90s. But
Yeah,
when you own, if you own your own tools, I mean, it works perfectly good and very good in the carpentry business because
$129.
yeah, I mean, I've got a good memory for what for what y'all cost me. But
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, really, $129 was not that easy for me to come by. But the fact that you've kept it all those years, it was really worth it.
Well, yeah.
But we were talking about tools. That's one kind of tool. If you're a carpenter, if you go to a job site and you only bring your hands, you're wearing a dirty t-shirt and a pair of pants, they're not going to hire you. But if you bring a hammer with you, you have a chance of getting hired.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
have a hammer and a saw, you have an even better chance. Now, if you've got all the tools, then you can run the job and you can have everybody work for you. But the fact is, if you're a carpenter and you have good tools, with good tools, you can do the work of many men working without tools.
yeah. Well,
So,
you know the story. I mean, I think I probably told you about it that when you told me that one time. How would I say? It was very simple. You said something like, "Son, if you ever need to get a job, what you do is you have your saw and you have your drill and you have your tool bags with you, and you walk up to the job with your tools and say, 'I'm ready to work.'"
yeah,
And it was something to that effect. And one day I was in between official jobs. I think I had just finished working for a man named Mr. Usry,
yeah, I remember.
and I was doing an odd job on top of a hill, and um, I had always wanted to learn how to frame houses. And on my way down the hill on my left hand side, there was a crew framing houses.
Yeah,
And so I pulled over, I pulled out my saw, and I pulled out my nail bags, and I walked up and I asked for a job,
yeah.
and I got it. And that job lasted me for years, and I learned how to frame houses by doing just what you said.
That's exactly what it takes.
Yeah.
You
So
know, and in that particular business, if you're good at it, the sky's the limit because there's a lot of people that are in it that are only in it for today's pay.
yeah,
And they don't have any commitment to it. But I'm like I tell your brothers too, especially Eric, the handyman, that you keep showing up and you keep doing work, and you're in the business of serving other people. Your name will get around. You stay with it,
yeah,
and your business will grow.
yeah. You also said, if you show up when you say you're going to show up and do what
Exactly.
you say you're going to do, you will
Yeah,
always have work.
that's right. And I always believe that you should give your customers just a little bit more than they bargained for.
Yeah, I try to
I
do
mean,
that.
I don't mean give them the whole farm
Hmm.
or anything like that. I don't mean say no, thank you. That's fine. You don't owe me a thing. I don't mean
Yeah.
that, but you give them more than they expect, and that creates goodwill. And the
Mm-hmm.
goodwill goes a long ways. It's like planting seeds.
Well, it's very surprising to them, especially in today's culture.
Yeah,
A lot of the people that I come in contact with to sell a job or
yeah,
to see what their needs are, they enter the discussion guarded because of having dealt with contractors in the past. They have been taken or been taken advantage of, or haven't gotten what they thought they were paying for, and things like that. And it's a hurdle usually to get beyond that to get them to trust me. And what it takes is, I think one of the biggest things is number one, showing up, you
Yeah.
know, and then doing what
Showing up.
and then doing what you say you're going to do, and that amazes people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Just showing up makes a big difference.
It,
No,
it
but let
really
me
does.
let me talk about, we're talking about physical tools that you use with your hand.
Mhm.
But is your attitude, is that a tool?
I think it is.
Yeah, you own your own attitude.
Okay.
All right. You own your own ambition. You own your own thoughts. You own I mean, I'm not talking about, being one of these freaks that collects things and claims everything. But all of these are yours. They're tools you can use. Now, if you use somebody else's attitude, somebody else's brain, you don't own your own tools. You own your own tools if you generate these ideas and thoughts yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should never take anybody's advice. Sure, you should. But you need to own your own tools, because you own your own mind. Use your mind as a tool. Your mind can generate all the ideas you'll ever need. But you've got to own your mind. You can't let your mind be owned by someone else or by society. And so the idea of owning your tools is owning everything that you can control that can affect you in your life. I mean, it's not like being a neurotic, or it's not like being a control freak or anything like that, because you know what you can control and what you can't. You can't control anybody else's attitude, anybody else's approach to life very well. I mean, you can have an effect on them, but pretty much everybody decides for themselves, how they're going to live their life. They either decide for themselves, or someone or society tells them how to do it. And so you want to be in charge. And that's really what I mean by owning your own tools. And you own your own tools, it's really hard to get fired.
It goes beyond just a tangible
Yeah.
circular saw.
Any intangible tools. So, I mean, the idea of owning your own tools, it's more like take ownership of your life and determine your own direction. I mean, you could phrase it like that too.
No,
So,
that's pretty heavy.
These are important things. I think if any human being does these three things, they're going to do real well in life.